Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Pigskin. And Noah, they're playing baseball down in Texas called the All-Star Game, but we got some All-Star topics. Let me get to the topics quick, then we go to the crew. Yes, we're going to be talking about Roger Goodell, Trevor Lawrence. That should be good news. Something easy for you to talk about, right, Travis? Right. Okay. The quarterbacks in new places. I've got a couple more in place. The winningest franchises in the regular season in the NFL. And we're going to talk about a young quarterback prospect by the name of Michael Pratt. And, we're going to talk a little Canadian football league. We're going to make Travis Holmes feel at home, I think. Oh, Canada, baby. All right, anyways. Off to the crew. Bo Crouches to my right. Welcome, Bo.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh, you're welcome. And, of course, we got the coach.
How you doing, Scott? Good to see you guys this week.
Great seeing you again, Coach. And Mel Farr Jr. We're going to hand the rock off to at least 6 times tonight.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And last but not least, our possibly adopted Canadian. We'll throw a teaser out there for y'all. Come on. We're making him smile. Travis has got a nice gleaming smile with a nice salute. Let me tell you something. If Joshua Dorf sees you there, he'll make you do a jog check. But if he's watching, at least you got the salute in anyways. Don't worry about it.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. All right, amen. All right, so anyways, let's talk about a commissioner throwing his own network under the bus named Roger Goodell, because during his testimony at the Sunday ticket trial, he pulled Thursday night games from NFL Network because the production was not up to standards. There's a few broadcasters in here, and we'll lead off with Mr. Bo, okay? What do you think of that situation, pulling broadcast off your own network because the production was not up to his standards?
Has he not watched Thursday Night Football? Because what's happened on the field hasn't really lived up to the standard either.
Yeah, right.
There's a reason that a guy like almichaels, who has been one of the most professional guys around the league, has made fun of the broadcast that he's on for Thursday Night Football. So it's not a big shock that they, got some of it off of there. I think some of that probably had a little bit of contract implication with being on Prime also. So, I mean, I would imagine there's probably some things behind the scenes that we're not privy to looking at it from the outside. But I wouldn't be excited about the product if I was the commissioner either, if it's the worst game of the week.
That's good. I like that. What do you think, Coach?
Again, to me, it's a prime example of people that are employed in the sport of football, working in the sport of football and making decisions about the sport of football that don't really understand the sport of football. The biggest problem with Thursday Night Football is the lack of preparation time and the lack of rest for the players. So I don't know how many of those that I coached in, but every single one of them was a scramble. Look, when it's a Thanksgiving game, it's kind of a different deal, but you kind of know how to prepare for that. But your game planning time is severely cut down. But the biggest thing is, you get guys during the season that get nicked up, and there's players that are playing Sunday that, man, are barely ready to practice by Thursday, and so it's a very taxing thing. And yeah, you get the extra time off, but if you want to know, it's not the production quality, it's the preparation quality and the physical health of the players to be prepared to go out and play an NFL game. There's nowhere to hide. Mel knows as well as anybody that, like, once the game starts, you got to finish the game, and it's just a tough draw for anybody. I don't know anybody that says, anybody that's in the business that would tell you, wow, they're fired up and they like playing or coaching on Thursday nights.
That's fair enough. Okay, Mel?
Well, it's like anything. When the big three thought that they could sell cars better than dealers did, they found out how difficult that is. The NFL found out how difficult it is to produce a football game. They understand the contract negotiations and things of that nature that go into negotiating a contract, a television contract, a national television contract, but they don't understand all the nuts and bolts that go into producing a show of that magnitude. And that's why, they're always looking, obviously they're probably always looking at their costs and things of that nature, not understanding that some things just have to be done. How many different cameras you have to have? I mean, there's a lot of things going to it. Like I said, it's like when the big three thought they could sell the cars better than dealers. They can make cars. That's what they do. That's what they do best, and that's what they need to stay focused on. Selling cars need to be left to the dealers because they're the ones that. That's how this model had been going for a number of years. The model that we've had, and they needed to stick to it. They got a little envious of some of the money that the dealers were making and thought that they could go in there and make that kind of money. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Just because you have cars for sale and people need to buy cars to drive, doesn't mean they're going to come buy the car from you. There's something. There's other stuff that are involved. And so I think the NFL just found out how difficult it is to produce games, and I think Roger Goodell was just being honest, and that's that he's protecting the product. He understands that in order to continue to grow this product the way that they want to grow it, the way that they've been growing it, it's got to be produced at an excellent level, not a good level, excellent, superior level.
Okay. I like that. All right, Travis, what do you think?
So I believe that he was telling the truth from his perspective, from his opinion. But I also thought it was a terrible testimony, and not because it was terrible on the league. I mean, it was a terrible comparison because of what he was trying to say was basically that it was a poor production quality, and that's kind of very similar to the reason that we started selling our out of market Sunday afternoon games at an inflated price, because that's the crutch of the lawsuit. Like, it was like, wait, what? Wait. So you selling the afternoon games that were already on the same networks that you sold the. Wait. You sold these streaming rights to some of these same networks that you're selling it away from these Sunday night games. That don't make. You just said it was about production quality. Like, wait, it's the same production. What are you talking about?
But it's not on NFL Network.
No, but I just thought it was funny because he's taking some of those same games from those same networks to another network. So I'm like, wait. It was probably a true opinion, but also if I'm an attorney and this is a deposition, or if this is I have a chance to cross, that's a garbage statement. Like, it just is objectively. Like, you just kind of just put yourself in the corner on that. So it's probably true. He probably thought that NFL Network wasn't the greatest production, unfortunately, which is not news to any of us. I mean, we've all, I'm the last one in the line, and we've all kind of agreed today that it wasn't the greatest product. One, because of the games. Two, because of short turnaround times. You might have some players that's just sitting out or just not fully themselves. Maybe vanilla game plans, etc. And then you get into the part where NFL Network is not exactly as good as Amazon. They're not getting these extra new age things where they're trying to throw in where the blitz is coming from and all these other things that everybody else is kind of showing you. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's not the greatest product, but that has nothing to do with this lawsuit. And that was probably just very throwaway comment that he didn't think was going to come back, but it's kind of did.
Yeah, eventually down the road, we're going to get more into the lawsuit. I haven't done it yet because I'm waiting for more information to come out. But the only thing is the NFL Network may not be good to do Thursday night games, but when you think about it, they're still broadcasting football games. They just didn't like the production of Thursday night, which ties into what Coach Bono says. I mean, really, I don't like the Thursday night games because of the wear and tear and the quick turnaround. Thanksgiving, you become accustomed to. It's not a big deal. It's engrossed in your head. Whether you have 2 or 3 games, the evening one, late afternoon, people are ready for Thanksgiving. But when you do it week in and week out, then and the punishment that the players take, and yet down the road, we're going to be looking at an 18-game season, but I won't get into that tonight. That one we'll spend more time on. But yeah, it's pretty interesting how he goes out there and is throwing his own league under the bus and being you're throwing your own league under the bus and taking it off. My goodness, but yet they're making billions of dollars, so he can say whatever he wants. And it's not like he's going away anytime soon, as long as they keep paying him more than production money, if you get my drift. Okay.
Is he really throwing them under the bus at the end of the day? They've already shifted the money away from a lot of the NFL Network productions. Anyways, all they have is the international series and like a few, I don't know. I guarantee it's less than 10 games a season at this point. So the money's already coming in from Amazon and YouTube and all these other places. So he's not even really throwing them under the bus. He's just protecting the money. That's kind of his job anyways.
Yeah, but but when you think about it, he is technically throwing it under the bus, even though, you could interpret that a lot of different ways. Go ahead, Bo. What were you going to add?
No, I was going to say it's really funny that he thinks the production quality was so bad on NFL Network. And don't get me wrong, it was. But the comparative product was Amazon, that the whole first season of them, it looked like a kung fu movie where the audio wasn't synced with the voices or with the image. So if you aren't keeping if you aren't keeping up with that, like how bad do you think your production value is if Amazon is better and their production really hasn't been very good?
Yeah, and yet that first year the games were awful. And the matchups were awful. All right, well, what isn't awful is the fact we're going to take a station break and Candy Evelyn's the one who's going to do it. Right, Candy?
Maybe.
She's playing peekaboo.
Candy's watching the All-Star game.
There it is.
I'm coming. I'm here.
There it is.
You are listening to us on the South Florida Tribune YouTube station. If you see that red subscribe button, hit it, like us, share it all around. The South Florida Tribune, published a book last year. It is called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It was written by Scott Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. The foreword is written by George Eichhorn. There are lots of stories in there about Scott's 40 plus years in the media business and how the media has changed over those years. You can buy this book, Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, Google, and Apple. If you want to listen to our podcast, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday and Thursday nights, Sports Exchange and Fire Up. You never know what we'll be talking about. Anything from cornhole to the National Hot Dog Eating Contest to NFL, NBA, and WNBA. You just never know. You got to tune in to find out. Wednesday nights, typically, Scott does Motor City Madmouth show on nofilter.net. This week, I believe it's switching to Thursday night. Am I right, Scott?
Yeah, it actually is.
Okay. You can also go to our website, please, www.southfloridatribune.com. In the middle, on the front page, is a link to our store. I know you want a South Florida Tribune tank top for this heat, or, like Travis, Canada, you might need a sweatshirt or something, or a baseball cap. You just never know. South Florida Tribune has you covered. Go to our site and pick up some merchandise. Twitter @Tribune South. Scott, back to you.
Coach Bono popped in and lit up really quick when you got to that store. After all, he's a mastermind behind it. Good stuff, Coach. You're getting better. You really would. So with that said, on to topic number 2, and one that should be all too familiar, at least in Jacksonville, is Trevor Lawrence worth a 5-year, $275 million extension, which does include a $200 million guaranteed and $142 million at signing. Well, we're going to start off with a man that resides in the area for which Lawrence is getting his cabin.
Oh, you knew you were going first.
I wanted to go last. I could talk about this forever.
I know. Well, you want to go last? Go ahead, Bo. You volunteered to go first.
Oh, come on.
All right, go ahead. I like you guys. You're the best. Go ahead.
You want me
to? All right, Bo. Yeah, go ahead, Bo.
So, Travis and I have obviously had this conversation already, but
well, the best part about it is this is the only show we got going on tonight. Unless you guys have other commitments. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So, I mean, yes, right now, did I want to see more out of him? Of course, but you already have the floor benchmark at Daniel Jones, right? So, 1 year of production, otherwise extraordinarily average, gets you 40 plus mil a year. So you already have a benchmark of where it is. You have highly productive, but not elite at 55 mil a year with Goff, right? So you are banking on what Lawrence has moving forward. That lands you in that kind of area. especially because his guarantees don't really land him truly at 55 anyway. I think it really works out to like 52, something like that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's somewhere in there. But he's not the top 3 guy in the league, but you're going to pay him based on what you think he's going to do. Because I mean, he hasn't really proven anything to me. Obviously, he has that first year with Urbanmeyer that everybody was going to be bad. Like there was zero chance that any quarterback ever was going to survive in that. And then, he's had 2 years under the regime that he has. So we've seen him get better. Obviously, turnovers are somewhat of a concern. Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the market the way it is, that's probably about where his talents would land him.
Okay, fair enough. Or what do you think, Coach?
I'm not going to be real long, but market dictates the price. They've got a young man that they feel is a franchise quarterback.
Right.
I don't think, again, you can't hold the first year against them, just like Bo said. And last year, I know for a fact he was playing injured, and so, how much of that is he didn't have a great year, but I mean, it's hard to go out there and compete and play when you're not healthy, but it's even harder when your health prevents you from preparing. I mean, he's going out there basically on no practice. So I know that the guy's intense competitor. He's won at every level at an elite rate. Look at what he did through high school and in college. I don't think, maybe the first game he ever lost, he probably only lost 1 game through high school and college. And, and now in the NFL, it's a different deal. But I think it's definitely a good investment. And, I'm pulling for him.
Okay. What about you, Mel?
Well, the numbers are deceiving as far as what he's getting paid, because he still has a year or 2 left on his rookie contract, or a year left on his rookie contract. So the numbers are somewhat deceiving. Is he worth it? Probably not. But it's not going to get any cheaper. Just ask Jerry Jones dealing with Dak Prescott. The longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to be.
Right.
So the sooner you're able to get that done, the better off you're going to be. Has he proven? And I'm not mad at anybody getting their money. So let me roll that back first. I'm not mad with anybody getting their money. Now, having said that, no, he's not worth that kind of money based on his on-field production. He's a number 1 overall pick. He's still getting paid on potential, on what he could potentially do. But, there was a number 1 overall pick up in Cleveland that had some pretty good numbers, and that team gave up on that guy. And he put up some pretty good numbers, I believe. I want to say his numbers might be comparable, if not better, to Trevor Lawrence's numbers. He's on his 4th team in the last 2 years or whatever.
Right.
But the short answer is no, but it doesn't get any cheaper. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets.
All right, Travis, you can't hide now. You're up.
I mean, I don't need to hide. I'm here, baby. Let's go. No. I mean, is your house worth what you paid for it? Is the cost of a house in New York worth $2 million or whatever it is, for a studio with a piano sitting in the middle and a hole in the roof? I don't know, man. The cost of a house is the cost of a house. Do you want a house or do you want a shed? Like that's the conversation. Do you want Daniel Jones or do you want at least average to an above average quarterback play? Because the cost is the cost is the cost. And that's really all this is coming down to. If you want a top 10 quarterback, and I would at least argue, I think we've already had this argument a few shows back, I would consider him a top 10 quarterback. If you want a top 10 quarterback, hey man, that's the price. As Bo already said, Daniel Jones kind of put that line in the sand for Daniel Jones got paid so y'all could get paid too. That's what that is what it is. So the line in the sand is $40 million per year guaranteed, and that's just what it's going to be. And that was with him cutting his contract up and pretty much starting from Jump Street. Well,
and that is with wanting a house and getting a shed.
Right. So that's what it is. And from a franchise that's seen Blake Bortles and seen Blake Bortles get paid and immediately be out of that contract a year later, if you think you have the guy, you kind of have to bite that bullet and just do it. And that's what it was. So at the end of the day, he's going to get essentially, because Mel said it earlier, the numbers are a little wonky. You have to remember that he still has 2 years left, and it's not even going to hit the cap until 2 years from now. Cool. Then at that point, he's kind of averaging 42 a year. If you want to take those 2 rookie years and add them to the extension, because again, if we're comparing it to the Daniel Jones situation where his contract started immediately, then that's the same conversation. A guy who made $40 million per year versus a guy who makes 42 for the next 7. That's a different, because these are different conversations, and that's, if you say you got wonky numbers, you got to find a way to put them apples to apples. So, at all of that being said and done, Trevor Lawrence is going to be like the freaking 10th or 11th ranked quarterback in actually, in amount per year when you get to the end of all of this. After everyone else, after Dak gets paid, after Tua gets paid, after all these guys have extensions over the next 2 years, we're going to be talking about this just like we talked about the Christian Kirk contract. Like, guys like going to be like 18th in the league or something crazy. So yes,
you can't do the math like that, because otherwise,
why not?
Because then that Russell Wilson situation doesn't seem as bad, because he never played under that contract, but he was still there. Like,
no, he never played under that contract, but he did get the signing bonus money.
Right.
So I mean, that's big. Trevor Lawrence got signing bonus money too.
Yeah, I'm an accountant. You can absolutely make that
average
argument.
it out over the term, then it doesn't look as bad. But as far as cash outlay, there's a lot of cash that's laid out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But I'm not Shad Khan. Hey, my money. Hey, man, ball out of control, baby. You got a yacht. Go ahead.
I got a new yacht.
Yeah, you got a brand new yacht. Like, come on, man. Spend your money how you want to spend your money. I'm not checking your pockets.
He's got a new stadium coming.
Yeah. I am not checking your pockets. At the end of the day, spend your money how you want to spend it. Just make sure we have an adequate quarterback and hopefully a good roster. And I don't want to see you being out here like them broke owners who go struggling to get these bonuses and trying to spread it out.
All right, Travis, I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell everybody what Travis just did to me, okay? He, number one, I'm bad at math, okay? Number two, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I am bad. That's when you're a journalist, you're bad at math. And if you're good at math, you can't write for diddly anyway. So what Travis just did is he hit geometry, trigonometry, and algebra at me all on one shot. All I know about general math is this, okay? Lawrence got $142 million in signing and $200 million guaranteed. And I don't know about the rest of all them numbers. And my father-in-law, Fred Eveling, okay, thank God I wasn't in his class. I probably would have failed, but instead I got his daughter. So I had the upper hand instead of him. But the reality of the situation is this. Shad Khan is banking on Doug Pederson. And I said banking because my wife's in the banking business, okay? Doug Pederson to make sure that this guy pays off, period. Yeah. We can slice this pie any way you want, okay? Just leave my fingers out so I don't have to go to first aid, okay? Because that's happened a time or two, but never mind. Too much information? Yeah, from an accident waiting to happen, 29 operations later, yes. But I'm going to tell you, Trevor got at least the guarantee. The other stuff, and you're right. I mean, Urbanmeyer, that situation was a redshirt year. Doug Peterson's a heck of a coach anyways, and he knows how to work with quarterbacks. So I'll tell you what, okay, Shad Khan is banking on Peterson to make sure that Lawrence is worth every bit of that money, no matter how you slice it. And, I'll say one other thing. Every one of these quarterbacks should be sending Daniel Jones Christmas cards and Christmas presents for the money that they're getting, because he's the one that started it and the Giants took the bait.
I mean, Daniel Jones is the most recent examples, but we've all talked about the true legend at the bank, and that's Mr. Kirk Cousins. He's the one who started us down this road.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm going to do?
There is one that rivals that, and that is Matt Flynn, because he never even had to take a snap. Never even took a snap.
That's fair.
He got $10 million guaranteed to drive through Seattle for an afternoon.
Well, you know what? We are going to do a future episode of Inside the Pitch, and I do want to go over the contract of Kirk Cousins again. We will do that. But for all intents purposes, okay, I couldn't help but to bring Lawrence in here. We're obviously going to find out that when he reports to camp, he's a $275 million man. That's all I can say. And I'm the $6 million man because they've had to rebuild me 9 million times. That's why I meet my deductible every February. That's why I go over my deductible every year in February, and I have 10 months to get it all fixed, just so I can keep doing all this stuff and love every second of it. So whatever. So did I get all that off my chest? Does it matter? Boy, you got a lot out of this topic, more than anybody could have thought. All right, quarterbacks in new places. Okay, we're going to make sure that Travis Holmes still feels at home. We're going to talk about Gardner Minshew to the Las Vegas Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo to the LA Rams. You know what, Bo? Go ahead. What do you think of both of these two? Start off with Minshew and then talk about Garoppolo. We don't have to get into a long drawn out. Do you think which ones will work out better, or will both work out?
Well, I mean, we'll start with Minshew. He at least makes the Raiders interesting, right? Like they have some pieces. Minshew to me is a lot like Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Okay. He's this era's version of that. Like he can win you some games. He's definitely going to lose you some games, but it's going to be exciting to watch. So it'll be fun football, even though they're probably not going to be really competing for that front spot in their division. Jimmy G as a backup seems right. That's really all I got to say to that.
All right. Fair enough. All right, Coach.
I think Vo brings up a good point. I like both of them as backups. I don't like either one of them as starters. I think that, neither one of them are what I would consider elite level quarterbacks. I think they're average, competitive guys, especially, Minshew, love watching him run around. I mean, he's going to definitely compete, but I think they're good, solid number twos.
Okay. All right, Mel.
Yeah, I think if you hear anything about either one of these, it's not good for the teams that they're on if they're having to play again, like we talked about last week. But as backups, I'm with Coach and Bo. I think that they're a lot better than, let's say what the Lions have had for the last couple of years with Doyle and whoever else. Because these guys have played games, won games in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo obviously started a lot of football games, won a lot of football games, and has gone deep into the playoffs. I think he went to a Super Bowl, didn't he? So he's a made man. He's a made man. For whatever reason, he's just, people just don't fall in love with him for whatever reason.
Right.
But he does enough. He can do enough to get you there. Just has had problems with health as of late. Gardner Minshew, he's a great story. Guy threw for a bunch of yards in college up there, I think, with Mike Leach in Washington State. Yeah, I think he's a great story. But again, if he has to get in there for you, your season's not going well. If he's a stopgap,
I think he's
one or two games,
right?
Huh?
I think he's going to be the starter.
He's going to be competing with Aiden O'Connell, right?
Yeah.
That's not going. That doesn't bode well.
No, and that's why I say they're not going to be competing for that division lead, but it'll be exciting.
That's his game, though, right? Like
they don't have Josh Jacobs in there anymore, right? So
nope.
It's gonna that's gonna be tough. That's tough. I didn't know. I thought they got somebody in the draft. I thought they got somebody else. That's gonna be tough if he has to start. He'll get you, 4 or 5 games, I guess. It'll be exciting. He's gonna run around a lot. It'll be exciting. He'll get some. It'll make for great stories, I guess. Him and mobile home or wherever he's living in out there in the desert. So we'll see.
All right.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it over to Travis.
So this is an interesting one because we've talked about Gardner on a few occasions, and I'm a Gardner fan, even though I understand his limitations clearly. Like right. as a fan of the sport, it's hard to say, all right, this guy's he's limited here, he's rough there, but he's exciting. It's just something about that excitement, like it makes you fan out a little bit. Like, I don't know what it is about this guy, but wearing these G-strings out here in these photo shoots and throwing balls over these here mountains, but whatever. But he is himself. He is absolutely who he wants to be and living his best life out here. And it makes me want to root for the guy. And I don't know, like he doesn't throw the best ball, but he just finds a way to just get out a win. And you can't tell me everything I just said about this little weird little quirky fellow and exactly what they need out there in Las Vegas. Like the way that team operated last year with the new coach coming on in, right? With the new coach coming in and kind of just taking this discombobulated little organization and locker room and putting them together and just being like, I know y'all misfits, but y'all my misfits, and we gonna come out here and punch them in the mouth. And that's their coach, that's their culture, that's the structure. And then you get someone like Gardner Minshew out here in these streets, just being himself, frankly, and just being this wild man. He might not be the greatest quarterback, and matter of fact, he's not. But like you said, if he gets you on a streak, 3
Jeremy's
games
over here trying to start fights.
Hey man, I am not even giving that attention. He's over here poking a bear. But no, if you get Gardner Minshew out in these streets and he wins 4 games, 5 games out of the first, I don't know, 6, you can't tell me they're not going crazy in Las Vegas, and all of a sudden they believe in. Like it's that small of a margin for a solid Las Vegas team. And as far as Garoppolo to the LA, I mean, he never lost to LA. It was just a weird thing. Garoppolo never lost to the LA Rams because he never actually had to beat them. He just had to be good enough just to be a basic quarterback who's not going to ruin the game, not going to turn the ball over. So for a backup quarterback, you're not going to get much better than that. That's a reacclimation project. Maybe they can do something good with and flip it. Who knows? That's a solid spot for him.
All right, let me tell you this. I was actually covering the draft, in Jacksonville when the Jaguars made the pick for Gardner Minshew, and they were raving about that pick. We as much as you hate to say you're going to put Tom Brady in the conversation, anytime you think you have a pretty good quarterback that late, there's no way the name Tom Brady cannot be mentioned. But we know Minshew mania is Candy went out there and brings it. Yeah, it does bring some excitement, that's for sure. I mean, and he's managed to carve out a living, making millions of dollars, no matter where he lives, how he lives in this league, where many of them don't last 3 to 5 years, But the reality is Minshew is good for football. And to me, I remember the excitement level when we had him on a conference call when he was drafted by the Jaguars. I was there. I was over at the facility when they drafted this guy. All right, let's go to the comments. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani, the homers, 400 feet, 3-0 National League. Kneecap biting joins the show tonight. So for the past 4 years, 50 games, 4 more TDs, and 11 less interceptions from Minshew versus Trevor Lawrence. Food for thought. All right, well, that's your food for thought, guy, not mine. I just saw the guy play while being bounced around the league. You know what? He's a journeyman quarterback. Okay, Lawrence.
It's why I liken him to Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He says for the last 4 years, and meanwhile, Trevor's only played 3. Make it make sense.
Yeah, right. Lawrence.
He's that guy, right? Like he's exciting. He's entertaining to listen to. He's been bounced around the league. He can win you games. He's going to have that game where he throws a bunch of picks. If Fitzpatrick retires, Minshew comes on the scene. It's the same dude.
That's fair.
Minus the Old Spice commercials.
Oh, I'm sure they're coming. Come on.
I hate to even think I'd be dumb enough to make this comment, but I'm going to do it. And, Nipsey Russell many years ago said, will sex be great when I'm 98? It might be, but I won't participate. Okay, I remember. You guys ever remember that comment? So
you said what?
No.
Nipsey Russell, coach, you remember him saying that?
I do not.
Yeah, I do. So
you said what?
Nipsey Russell. This
what
is
did
for
he say?
A lot of us. Will sex still be great when I'm 98? It might be, but I won't participate. Well, you know what? Here's the thing, okay? Minshew, to me, I'm coming off with an analogy nobody would ever think of could come out of anybody's mouth but mine. But here, Minshew, to me, is instant gratification, and you can go ahead and break that down any way you want, and I'll let the imagination run amok, and I'm leaving it there. So I had to get it out there. As for Jimmy Garoppolo, you know what? Playing under, here we go. We got a Nipsey person, Kenny of the 49ers. Nipsey was great in Wildcats. Look at this. We have a Nipsey Russell. Somebody out there remembers this guy. Really?
I'm just trying to
Yeah, I didn't think you were a fan of hip hop, Scott. This threw me off for a second. When you said Nipsey, I'm thinking like, Nipsey.
Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle. What we doing?
Well,
that's where I thought he was starting off too.
On a night where baseball's being played, I just threw a curveball at you guys, so I had to make sure that.
I was a knuckleball there, man.
Well, that may have been a knuckleball.
That might have been the old spitter.
I'll call it my knuckle curve. Is what I'll do. But
Man.
yes, kneecap biting. Nipsey Russell was a great comic. So, as far as Minshew, instant gratification if you need a couple wins quick to keep you in the playoff hunt. That's for Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what? To me, you don't need him for a whole lot anyways. You really don't. If you can get a couple games out of him, the hope is that Matt Stafford can stay healthy, and knowing that he has a potential contract situation coming up is better for them not to have to deal with Jimmy Garoppolo. So I know we threw this at a lot of different angles, and who in this show would ever think there would be a Nipsey Russell mention, let alone the fact the word sex is even brought up in this whole thing. But you get it all the way around here on Inside the Pigskin.
That was you, Scott. You been a fan. You a fan. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Hey,
I thought you're supposed to use blinkers when you switch lanes. Like I was not sure where you were going.
Yeah, nobody knew where I was going with that one, so that's why I have a smart crew. Where's this guy going with this one? Hello, Ralph Williams. How you doing tonight? So yeah, nobody knew where I was going. But I like to listen to you guys. And all of a sudden, and then we got Gardner-Minshew, who, by the way, I was there when he got drafted and saw him play some games.
Oh yeah, shout out to Denny Thompson, who's a quarterback coach in Jacksonville. That's that dude.
I mean, let's face it. When injuries took a toll out there, Minshew was there. He actually had that town riding on him with Minshew mania. And for anybody that's ever covered a game out in Jacksonville, that to me is one of those towns where I don't care about Tampa. I don't care about Miami. Excuse me. It's the only game in town, and Jacksonville to me is a sleeping giant when it comes to a football town. You put something even halfway decent or even competitive, those people will put numbers in the stands. And that's all there is to it. I don't care about the AAA team and the AAA hockey team or whatever. The Jaguars are it there, and I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't take much to own that town as long as you have. I mean,
Scott, did you call them Jaguars?
Yeah, why?
Oh man, I just heard that you had that European twang to it. I just needed to confirm.
Well,
Jaguars. All right, cool.
Jaguars. I see one of those people on Twitter called Jaguars. Well, Wires. I thought that was the proper phonetic name.
Well, it's because the stadium deal hasn't been fully inked, so they could still move there. So he's just trying to get them ready.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, listen, let me tell you, here in South Florida.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Here in South Florida, I still have a problem with Okeechobee. Everybody says it's Okeechobee, so whatever. I didn't grow up in an Indian town, okay? I grew up in Motown, and Coach Bono and I know what's in Dearborn, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, exactly. It is not Okeechobee, that's for sure.
Hey, Travis, if you move to Canada, I think you lose your Jag fan rights.
Nah, man, I'll still be a U.S. citizen. I'm still gonna be a U.S. citizen up there freezing with them people in them Eskimo huts, and we're gonna find a way to get this thing done, baby.
You can't say Eskimos anymore because the Edmonton Eskimos were named their Edmonton Elks. They're awful ever since they had that. Warren Moon is walking through that door. We got to get you comfortable with the Canadians.
All right, they're gonna have to teach me when I get up there. We're gonna have to figure it out.
Although we're out, now that we can do this teleconference thing, anything you need to know, let me know.
I went to school in Northern Michigan. It's not much difference.
Bingo, 30-minute drive. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right, kneecap biting. Another one with Flip Wilson delivered better one-liners than Russell did passes for the Broncos. Oh, all right, that's interesting. Okay, I'm not sure how to really absorb. All I know about Flip Wilson is he changed himself to Geraldine when it was over. So for a lot of you people that want to change from man to woman real quick, Flip Wilson had that drilled down pretty good, and all it took him was by the end of the show to do it. So Jimmy G had a passer rating of 99.2 with 13,599, 2 touchdowns, 42 interceptions. That's all right.
Hey, all he did was win.
Yeah, all he did was win.
Jimmy D did was win. That's all he did.
And they're still winning without him.
Exactly. Well, and they didn't ask him to do a lot. And when they needed him to be clutch, why that's not a triple-digit rating, is because those are the ones he didn't hit.
Man, y'all sound like some haters. Y'all hate.
Well, let me tell you, Jimmy Garoppolo, everybody knows
I'm
is
with
always
you there. I'm with you there.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is a game manager. All right, let's talk about winning his franchise in the regular.
Okay, I mean, we there's so much into this elite game. I mean, how many guys are truly elite?
So
Not even probably a handful.
No,
Maybe
I look at it this
Josh
way.
Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, maybe. Who else are we talking?
Even through time, there's not tons of elite guys, but the biggest thing is where do most of the rings go? Game managers.
Bingo.
Yeah, right.
Was Joe
Bingo.
Montana
A company cannot run appropriately without managers.
If you're out there playing hero ball, you'll win a lot of games. You don't win a lot of championships
was
because you
Joe
only
Montana,
have
was
one.
he elite? Was Troy Aikman, was he elite, or did he just make plays at the right time? And they relied on that running game. I mean, Emmitt Smith is, if I'm not mistaken, the all-time leading rusher. Troy Aikman is not the all-time leading passer.
No, he
Nowhere
had
near.
all around him.
I think he might have 30,000 passing yards. If I'm not mistaken. The all-time leader is what, 80, 90? With Tom Brady?
That's why Dilfer has a ring and Dan Marino doesn't.
Don't get me started there.
Oh,
Yeah, don't get me started there. All right, let's go to kneecap biting. Got some interesting stuff. And by the way, I've always thought one of the better backup quarterbacks in recent years was Drew Stanton. I really did. So he's not even on the list that we're talking about. And let's go to Milton Berle Scott. Okay. And if Cam Newton was trying to audition as a Medea stunt double, he might have been able to. Well, I knew that's another one of my great pronunciations.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah, all right, whatever. I'm not worried about it. And Kenny, friend Tarkington was great. Guess what, Kenny, though? I did have his nephew, Chip Tarkington, on the show, and I'll be putting that up on Facebook, and it's on the YouTube channel. I had a good talk with his nephew. Are you familiar with Chip Tarkington at all, Coach?
I am not.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Earl Morrall was one of the best backups ever to play the game. Yeah, he was. Yeah, sure. He was on the undefeated team, so we'll keep it going. All right, now back to where I want to go with all this winning franchises in the regular season through 2023. We'll start off with Green Bay at 799. The Chicago Bears are actually 793. The New York Giants are 721. Pittsburgh 671. Washington 629. So the real question is this, okay? Will the Bears pass the Packers this season? All right, we're going to go back. All right, go ahead, Bo.
Oh, that was it. No.
Okay.
No need to expand.
Yeah, short answers are okay too. Long ones doesn't matter unless I have a rant that goes ballistically. Okay. All right. Yeah, we know Candy Evelyn. We knew what that word was going to be.
That's right. The emphatic no.
Yeah, that's with the yeah. All right. So, hey, Jeremy, remember I told you about the names here. They must be accurate to be acknowledged. So that a boy. Okay. Don Shula, coach in both times. So Keed. Oh, come on, Jeremy, your spelling is looking worse than my cat's. Okay.
Ben Shula.
That should be lead the Colts and the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. All right, you know what, Jeremy? I'll give you some good advice.
Put the bottle down, Jeremy.
Yeah, put the. Are you drinking tequila or are you drinking Diet Mountain Dew?
Oh,
Let me
man.
know.
Or give me back up. One of the two.
Good
night. All right, that's all right, Jeremy. You know I like to bust your chops, especially when you get two spelling errors wrong within a matter of about 10 seconds. Okay. So what do you think, Coach? Yes or no?
I'm going to summon my inner Dr. Evil and say, how about no?
All right. So now Jeremy's got an excuse, no glasses on. All right, what's that got to do? Oh, typing on the phone. All right, whatever. Well, we can't bust the chops anymore. I still think if you keep drinking the Diet Mountain Dew, you won't. Your hands will be connected to your body anyways. And for those of you that have ever been in North Carolina, you ever drink Sundrop, I'll tell you one thing, that makes a monster drink or a Red Bull to me look like water. All right, Mel, what do you think? Yes or no?
So your question is, will the Bears be better than the Packers next year?
No, will they have the all-time winningest in the wins column? Right now, 799 and 793, the Packers lead by 6. Will the Bears pass them this season?
You know how bad the Packers would have to be for the Bears to do.
That's a negative. That's a negative.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Travis?
I mean, Bo just took my point. I mean, a 6-game difference, you would have to win 1 to 2 games as for the Bears, because I don't think. I mean, sorry for the Packers, and the Bears would then still have to go. Win. I
Win
don't
the
know,
division?
9 games. Yeah, and I don't know if either of these things is reasonable.
I don't even know if it's mathematically possible. If you're talking about overall winning percentage, all the games that they played.
Well, just total.
I think he's talking about just total wins.
victory.
We're just talking total wins, coach. That's all.
And that's always weird with stats like this, because both of these teams have the most wins, and they just so happen to be 2 of the oldest teams.
Exactly.
Like, all right, cool. Like 1921 for both of them, and then the Giants 1925.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right, now I'm not going to.
Hope you won more games against teams that weren't playing yet.
I'm not going to.
In the leather helmets.
Let me tell you, I'm not going to win any fans in Chicago by about what I'm about to say. I think Caleb Williams is going to get his butt kicked. I don't care what anybody says. If the Bears win 4 or 5 games, they'll be really lucky. And you need 6.
Be a travesty, because they won 7 with the other guy. They won 7.
I know, but
with a couple quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Well, that's true. I'm telling you right now, and this is what I think. I think Caleb Williams, to me, is going to get hammered his first year, like a lot of first-year quarterbacks do. I know Justin Fields is in Pittsburgh and won't care anyways. But the reality is I believe that they won't pass them. In fact, I think the Green Bay Packers will put more distance between them by the time we address this question a year from now. So
I do want to give one shout out though. The one thing that I do like the moves that the Bears did make was hiring Shane Waldron in the offseason. And Bo might disagree with me. I don't know, what his opinion, because he's coming from Seattle, but I was with Shane in Detroit, in LA, and I just think he's a really, really good up and coming coach. I think he's he's super smart. I think he does a really good job with what he has to work with, and I think he's smart enough to figure out and know what he has in Caleb Williams, and not put too much on him at once. I think Shane's one of the better play callers in the league.
So to jump on that, since he did come from Seattle, is he got a lot of hate here in Seattle that he didn't deserve, because he was trying to fabricate an offensive line with an entire offensive line that was on IR. They lost both of their starting tackles in the first half of the first game of the season, and they didn't get them back until week 15. They lose their center. They lost a guard. And so all of a sudden, anything creative you were going to be as an OC goes out the window. And it's why we ran so much 13 personnel, which is 3 tight ends, if you're watching and don't know what that is. So it's 1 running back and 3 tight ends. We didn't throw the ball a lot to tight ends. Those tight ends were there as makeshift offensive line. Mm-hmm. There's a reason that Gino, although didn't get sacked a lot, was running for his life all season. So unfortunately for Waldron, he got a lot of hate that he didn't deserve, because his creativeness actually went to Gino not dying on the field, instead of how can we scheme these fast receivers to get open. So I actually do think he's a better coach than probably most of the fan base here in Seattle give him credit for.
All right, let's go back to the chat room. There's only one guy doing it all anyways for now. But Kneecap says for the Bears, has probably had about as much of a chance to beat the Packers as the Panthers could win the division this season. Well, okay, that's interesting. Time will tell. Not sure where to go with that one. I'll need more time, like all of us will. The Bears look great prior to the season, like every year. They feel confident on paper. You know what, Smoke? I think everybody feels that way on paper until humility.
No, can I please just comment on that? Like,
go ahead.
I actually am confident in the Bears not being great, but I do believe that they'll win as many games or more than they won last year.
That's
I do believe that they'll win 7 or 8 games.
Yes,
right, let's go.
No, I agree with you on that. And this I actually just addressed is I don't care how good your quarterback is. If your offensive line is sitting on the bench, you're not going to be good, because I can tell you your third option at tackle isn't your starting tackle, right? Like, because if you have 2 tackles that both get hurt, it's not like you get to slide a tackle over, right? And then bring that third guy in. Your number one tackle is your third option. Your other side tackle is your fourth option. That doesn't say good things. That has nothing good as far as protection goes, because they aren't getting number one reps, and they weren't good enough to beat the other two guys out that were rookies the year before, right? So, I mean, there was a lot that went wrong with that Seattle team immediately when the season started. So I agree it didn't look great, but the recipe for success was watered down.
All right. Well, Kneecap has a question. Bo, how was Seattle's offense last year without Dave Canales as QB coach? He didn't look.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Is
right. Okay.
Even if you had the best quarterback coaching in the world, if your dude is running for his life,
all right,
there's not a lot you can do,
and you can't run if you're on your third and fourth.
Exactly.
I agree. Okay, so another thing for Kneecap, I agree with that, Travis. All right, let's continue on. Again, it's safe to say all of us agree at the moment, okay, that it's not going to happen. All right, now we bring in Orlando Escribano, who's that Kneecap guy in the comments. He's handsome. All right, well, I'm glad you feel that way. All right. Must be looking at that picture that he got with that Honolulu Blue business on.
I was thinking that was Jeremy's burner account.
Yeah, I figured it would be. Yeah. All right. Well,
no, it can't be. The spelling's too good.
Hey, let me tell you something. I got to give Kneecap credit, though. He's taking this Thursday night off. You know what? That man's going on a date. So, good for him.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. Hey, don't get him smoking. It's okay. We can hold the fork down for you.
Go ahead, man. The whole dollar menu. Go ahead.
Anytime you need a date, you can have the night off, because that's a holiday for you anyway. It's good. I want to see you find your mate there, pal. That's okay.
Orlando's picking him up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy out here. It's crazy out here in these streets, in these dating streets.
That may be one of those things where she's a really nice woman, I'm sure. I hope it works out, really, Jeremy. Nice, it's okay. Yeah, in fact, because when we were in Wisconsin, you can have next Thursday off too, and you can go after her again. All right, just make sure you take it to Black Rock Bar and Grill out in Heartland. That's all. All right, my brother's restaurant. All right, got to get that plug in for my bro. No, I had no choice. Right. All right, so here, let's talk about this. Okay, well, QB, this kid from Green Bay, Michael Pratt out of Tulane, was actually drafted in round 7, 245th. Be the biggest sleeper in the 2024 draft. He figures to sit like a lot of the Packers quarterbacks to wait their turn. So, all right, you know what? I'll go with you again, Bo. Again, okay. Michael Pratt was considered a pretty good prospect going into the draft, and I think he ended up in a good situation in Green Bay. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah. I mean, he's late in the draft. He's going to have time to marinate. Right, which is generally the case, generally what's needed in the case of you being a late round pick. So, that should be a good deal. And of course, there's a track record of Green Bay quarterbacks that having pretty decent careers.
Yeah, I think. Well, good to know that she's a good Christian girl, ladies' choice. Hey, you know what, Kneecap? I hope you have the greatest time on the planet. Up. An update from the All-Star game, middle of the fourth, 3-3. AKA 33 is my lucky number, by the way. All right, so go ahead, Coach. What do you think about Michael Pratt?
Who knows? I mean,
yeah.
You never know. I mean, look, Ron Wolf made a living out of, trading off all of Brett Favre's backups. So, you kind of hope that, that the kid develops and gets some good film, and then, maybe they get some trade value for him. But, the plan is for him to never see the field. Let's be clear about that. They got their guy in Jordan Love. Outside of preseason, we might not see this guy play a lick. So who knows?
Okay, Kneecap, just to give you some information about the one thing, did you cover the fact that IU asked for a trade and John Lynch pulled a league course? So, no, that wasn't on the menu tonight. But, the ones that we put out there were the ones I felt were best suited for what we were talking about tonight. No, I'd like to see how that thing plays out before I get into trade talk right now. I don't do anything premature. Okay, well, Mel, your thoughts about Michael Pratt?
Yeah, I'm with Coach. I mean, if he gets in there, that's a problem. So
Right.
hopefully, I think Green Bay fans will hope they never hear this guy's name called. That he's, the emergency quarterback or the quarterback with the baseball cap on backwards and the clipboard. And a lot of these guys, all they need is reps. But will he get those reps? Probably not. So will he ever turn out and be a decent backup? Possibly. I mean, obviously he has some skill.
Well, this is
Coming out of high school, so I mean, he played in college, played a lot of games. It's a tough. There's only 32 jobs there, starting jobs. Then there's another, 32 backups. It's a tough gig. It's a tough gig.
All right, Travis.
I've heard a few GMs say something similar to this, and one of those GMs happens to be Ron Wolf, the Green Bay Packers general manager, which is you should draft a quarterback every year. If you're not drafting them every year, every other year is probably your bare minimum. I don't care if it's the last pick of the draft because of positional, hierarchy or how important the quarterback role is. The fact that if it is a needle on a haystack opportunity, it can change. It's a franchise changing move, whether it's for you or it's because you're trading Brad Johnson to. Well, who do the Jaguars trade him to? The Buffalo, to use those picks to get multiple players coming in. Cool. Right. Like at the end of the day, whether you're using that player or if you're trading that player for multiple picks to help your team build, then the quarterback role is so important that you just have to keep taking bites at the apples. But as far as this quarterback specifically, that's Pratt. Like, cool. He might be all right. He might be just a coin flip. He's a lottery ticket. He's Bitcoin. We'll see if he goes to the moon or if he's off the roster next year. Who knows? Because they drafted Sean Clifford last year. Have you heard anything about him? Right. No. All right, cool. So we will see. But at the end of the day, it's going to be great. Maybe he'll develop on the practice squad. Maybe he'll develop on the roster, or it will just be another bite at the apple, and they'll just choose another quarterback next year, and rightfully so.
Well, the best part about this lottery ticket was it was in the 7th round, 245. So you can't call him a bust because he went so late.
Well, that's why I say he's just going to sit there and marinate because he should never see the field.
Well, like I said, I hope he sees a lot during preseason, so you can at least get enough game film on this guy to see what you have. I mean,
Brock Purdy.
What's that?
Brock Purdy.
Yeah. No.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know, and that's true.
Not possible.
But if he sees a lot of playing time during the preseason, at least you know what you have in person without having to look at it on film. That's all. Brock Purdy.
A lot of him. It means that Jordan Love turned into Trey Lance. So that's what that means.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, you have him, see what he can do. And like you said, the Packers have a history anyways of making guys sit. You never know if you have a hidden gem, but you have Michael Pratt at least through the preseason, and we'll see if you have him longer than that. All right, you know what? Since I'm in a Canadian frame of mind tonight because of Travis Holmes, I do have a Canadian Football League topic I want to talk about, and that is this, okay? Seanwhyte of the British Columbia Lions, yes! And when I joke around with Candy and I go out there and say the Lions game is on, oh my gosh, she actually, just all this little no football between the United Football League being done for a while and NFL. I've been watching the CFL lately. I'm a football guy. What do you want? Okay. But Seanwhyte of the British Columbia Lions, age 38, yes, on July 13, 2024, extended his team record to 39 consecutive field goals after adding 7 in a game in Saskatchewan, extending his team record and moving him into a tie second overall. Coach Bonamago being a special teams guy, and let's not kid ourselves, the goalpost is on the goal line, and that end zone is 20 yards? So what do you think about Seanwhyte, spelled Whyte? Just so you know.
I just had to Google him to figure out who he was. I didn't even know he was a kicker, Scott. So my contract says that I'm not allowed to talk about topics that aren't sent in the questions.
Oh,
So,
well, that was a last minute.
In the pre-production notes.
That was actually a last minute add-on. But
this kind of voids our contract, which means I get paid and
well, you got to understand though. I am giving you a percentage of the sales.
Here's the bottom.
Well, hold on. We're talking contract now. So we're talking about percentage of sales that I get from merchandise from that company that you represent. So we have a cross-binding contract. Okay.
All right.
Oh gosh.
Well, the guy makes kicks. That's all that's important. And I think the way the NFL is going right now, the kickoff is, like hang time is out of the equation now on kickoffs because the coverage team can't start until the ball's caught. So a 4-3 hang time, which would be excellent, is not going to give the kicking team any advantage over a kick that gets down there in 3 seconds. So your decisions now, that's out of the equation in terms of like who you keep on your roster as your kicker. Right. It's going to be strictly who can make field goals at the highest percentage. So, I don't know anything about this guy, but to put together a string like that, it's pretty impressive. Maybe
you know what, Coach? I'm gonna tell you, I didn't know anything about this guy too until I was actually watching the CFL game that night because I was actually watching it instead of crime shows because normally at that time I watched NCIS with my wife. So it just so happened to be, I said, you can watch the Lions, the BC Lions. Well, I didn't know anything about them either. So, and it made me think about Jake Bates and Sean White. And this guy's 38 years old kicking field goals that accurate. It blew me away. I didn't even decide to put this in until 20 minutes before because I thought it'd be a little bit fun to talk about the CFL while we're still waiting for some of the NFL hay to come back out here and make it easier. So you got to understand, Coach, when you're an executive producer, and Bo knows it as well as I do, right? You're trying to come up with some interesting stuff. And I actually went into special teams with you to get you a kicker in special teams. But
here's the thing. I have figured out why Travis is thinking about moving to Canada. Because he likes that Canadian bacon. I mean, he's tired of.
Trav does love bacon. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Trav loves bacon. So
that was good. I like that. And not only that, the other reason he's moving to Canada is he'll have a lot easier time getting credentials to those games than you probably might here in the States.
All right. It may happen. It may happen. There's no guarantee I'm moving to Canada.
I didn't say that.
I need to make sure. And I need to make sure the people know. The other people. I don't need nobody hitting me up.
It doesn't matter. You can do this show in Iceland if you want to. It doesn't matter. Everything's all a mouse click away anyway. I can just see the day, guys. Ready? Travis Holmes reporting from Iceland. Oh my God! Bring back the testing.
Hey, we'll talk off camera, but I was just at the NHL show in Orlando 2 weeks ago. Ran into a lot of Canadian people. I don't want to say anything on the air. I'll tell you what the truth is.
That's okay.
All right. Yeah. Again, I went to school in UCF, but then I finished my last 4 years after college up in Northern Michigan. So yeah, I'm used to a lot of Canadians and French Canadians and a lot of the island people who live in the Toronto and Montreal area. So I got you. Yeah, we good.
I'm just saying, if you're broadcasting from Iceland, I'm going to come visit because I'm bringing my cameras because it looks awesome there. But as far as Canadians, Puerto Vallarta is full of them. So
yeah,
I mean, they're all over the place.
What are your thoughts about the streak, Bo? I've done a great job taking everybody off topic here because we're talking about all these other places.
What was the streak? What's the significance?
38 kicks straight.
Made that many?
Actually, 39.
Oh, 39. I'm sorry. All right, there you go. Multiple, four game winning in the last he
had 7 in one game. And I'm still trying to figure out how they get 1 point. Is that when you don't take it out of the end zone? And get field position. There's certain things that are really quirky there that I don't know.
It's not the drop kick?
I don't know. So who wants to comment? Are you up next here?
It's a great streak. It's a great streak. Yeah. I've watched 0 of them. So I can't really speak intelligently about them, but
All right.
anytime you can hit close to 40 of them in a row, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Right. No.
All right. Well, kneecap fighting says 39 consecutive is pretty freaking awesome. Yeah, I'd say
Absolutely.
so.
And to Coach's point, yeah, that might get you a call from the league.
He's gonna be-
The
What,
American
30
League.
he's
At
38 years
38,
old.
at 38 years old, seriously?
You think I don't care how old you are. I don't
Well,
need I don't need you to survive 2 years. I need you to. What can you do for me this year?
Well,
If
you know
want-
what? That's
You want
true.
1 year contract?
You know what? You do have a point. George Blanda
There's-
played what, into his 50s?
Well, there's been there's been guys that have kicked well into their, look, Vinatieri kicked forever. How old
Well,
was he?
they kicked well into that, but they didn't come over at that age. I don't
Yeah.
know if has Sean White ever been in the NFL?
I don't
That's
know.
true. And he might have
Oh,
to
yeah.
and he might have to tackle somebody with this new kickoff rule too. That might be a little different for a 40-year-old.
And
Well,
he's
they wouldn't have
5'9",
to
and he's
kick it off.
5'9", and he's 5'9" too.
Yeah, he wouldn't be kicking off. He might be kicking field goals, but
Yeah.
there was a couple of teams talking about potentially having a safety kickoff.
Really?
Yep. I mean, the Jaguars was talking about Andre Sisco's
Yeah.
their free safety
Yeah.
was volunteering
Whoever
himself to kick.
Yeah.
Whoever the kicker is, he can't cross the 50-yard line.
No, but he's probably still going to have to tackle
Yeah,
someone.
they're always the last line of defense. I mean, that's part of your.
You can't cross the 50-yard line.
The kicker
Not
cannot.
until it's hot.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, so
Oh,
they're
yeah.
kind of the safety, but
That's not good.
per the Chiefs special teams coach, he said that the kicker was involved in about 25% of the kickoffs in
He
the
does break
NFL.
that line of
In the
defense.
UF, in the
I mean, that's not a good.
XFL.
You don't have a good angle just standing there with your your toes at the 50. It's not good.
No, but I respect Sean White. He was out here with a few other kickers who got fined by the CFL because they were complaining about the balls being chipped and how they felt like it threw them off 3 weeks ago. Just reading an article where they're complaining about it, and he just kept getting fined because he didn't care. Which I've actually talked to old kicker for the Jaguars. Goodness gracious, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Who basically said the same thing. He was like, "No, you can feel like when you punt the ball and stuff like that. Like you can feel the chip that they have inside the ball." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" Yeah, I'm like, "That's just a different thing." He's like, "Yeah, you just know it when you're kicking that ball versus the unchipped ones, and it's can get a little annoying, I guess." But I just thought that was weird. So I guess they're finding them up in Canada for even talking about it.
Well, Mel, so here, before we go to the chat room again, because now we got some information, okay?
Ooh.
First of all, that 39 streak is pretty impressive. What do you guys think about the goalpost being right on the goal line? I think everybody can answer this one.
Well, I mean, there's a reason the NFL moved it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to run into that thing.
Yeah, okay. And
Their end zone is bigger too, isn't it? 15 yards, whatever. Their end zone is
20
much
yards.
bigger. How much? 30?
20 yards.
20 yards, yeah.
yeah, it's all 20 yards, I think.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, Canadian football, that's outside the scope of my contract. I'm like, coach.
Yeah, everybody, we're all worried about contracts here. That's okay. It's all funny that this is probably one of the funnest shows we've ever had since I threw a curveball at everybody on All-Star game night anyway. Even if our audience is watching the All-Star game, at least they can know that we're having a comedy show here on the side. All right, because all the people on here are football related anyways. So here, let's go ahead to kneecap fighting. Talk about some old kickers here. We'll talk about Jason Hansen, Sebastian Janikowski, Adam Vinatieri, Gary, and Morton Anderson, kickers that play for a long time. That's true. All right, now, Candy, for all of us that didn't know anything, we'll just put this long comment up. Feel free
Murray
to
played
read
for a
it.
long time.
Yeah, so here you go. Read it.
Oh, Lord.
Or anybody wants to read. Yeah, that's a long one. I can't read that much.
We're reading a book. All right, man. White was signed by the BC Lions as a territorial exemption on May 2007, where he practiced regularly with the team throughout the season. Later that year, he signed a 3-year contract to remain with the Lions. In 2008, he spent the year on the practice roster. In 2009, following an injury to incumbent Lions kicker Paul McCallum, White played his first professional game he played in 2009 against the Edmonton Eskimos, where he made his only field goal attempt of 23 yards. And he recently said he wanted to play longer than Paul McCallum played. So I wonder how old he was when he retired.
Great job with that Wikipedia cut and paste there, Candy.
Yeah, there you go. Well, here we have more. Now that you volunteered to talk about it, Coach, you can read this one.
In his
That's right,
second
man.
year with the
Chapter 2.
Eskimos, White had his best season as he made 45 of 48 field goal attempts for 93.8 completion rate which was the third best completion percentage in CFL history at the time. I'm better than Biden.
There you go. That was good. That was good.
That's
Hey,
fair.
that was good. All right. And because the CFL is 10 years longer than the NFL. All right. You know what? I knew there was going to be one topic I could have a lot of fun with, and boy, that worked out really well, man.
Oh,
Come on. We can have all the serious stuff we want, but when you go into the United Football League, you're going to that Canadian Football League. No, I'm not Howard.
So White says he wants to play for another 6 to 7 years.
Is that what he said?
Mhm.
Probably can.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I can say is Sean White is doing good work north of the border. Candy, come in for another station break. You've done an unbelievable job with all this crack information, and we're all cracking up here tonight looking at all this crazy stuff that I went ahead concocted. Oh.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the South Florida Tribune Publishing Company, which published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders, written by none other than Scott Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. It talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how the industry has changed. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple. And we are working on the audiobook for anybody that's going to comment. We are working on the audiobook. Stay tuned for details. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where I know you need, because the heat in the nation, you need a t-shirt or you need a tank top. Go get a South Florida Tribune t-shirt, or if you're a little cold, get a sweatshirt for those Canadian days. Go get it, southfloridatribune.com, www.southfloridatribune.com, where you can also read Scott's articles, my pictures, and all kinds of interesting articles. Smoking Jeremy B writes as well. And you can get transcripts for Dolphins, Lions, Jaguars. You can also get information from most of the college football teams down here in South Florida, the Hurricanes, the Gators, the Owls, and the Bulls, I believe. Yes, those are the four that we
the rival of Travis Holmes.
The rival.
He was the Bulls. That's it.
Y'all my rival like gluten. Like they don't count.
Okay.
If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to listen to a podcast, Monday nights we talk baseball, Tuesday nights we talk football, and you never know what else we're talking tonight. I mean, Scott even brought up sex. Come on, really? Anyways, Wednesday nights and Thursday nights we're talking all kinds of different topics. Typically anything from cornhole to National Hot Dog Eating Contest to NFL, NBA, you name it, we talk about it. You got to go to 9 o'clock Wednesday nights and Thursday nights typically. Yeah. Typically on Wednesday nights, Scott has a Motor City Madmouth show on nofilter.net. This week he is moving it to Thursday night. It's a one-on-one interview show. I think that's pretty much all of it. Scott, back to you.
Well, very good. You know, you guys are the best. I'm telling you. The way you can go out there and handle some of this off-the-wall stuff that we are. Now, Scott, are you giving innuendos to your partner? LOL. Of course I do. I bring you on the show. I give you airtime. I've given you innuendos. And that's a great book. I read it and reviewed it. Of course, I'm glad you did, because I didn't charge you for it either. But I'm glad you did. And I hope you're learning something from it either. But that's okay, Jeremy. You were in it before, and you're to me, as far as I'm concerned, a product of what this is all about. So yeah, I'm giving it. I give whatever I give out here. It is what it is. So, but all I can tell you is this: you know, it's been a fun show. I know that I don't remember the time. I don't know if I'll ever mention Nipsey Russell or Flip Wilson on another show of any kind, in any way, shape, or form. But because of your date, Jeremy, I had no choice but to go out there and bring it up. And for those of you that want to go back there, to me, it's go ahead, Jeremy. You got 2 weeks, and I like this Christian lady. Have a good time with this girl, and treat her right so you can have a third date. I'm telling you, don't make her a one and done or a 2 and done, man. And I'm the last guy that should be giving dating advice, anyways. But yeah, but anyway, back to Kneecap by Ace's Tool. I'm still using it. Good, sir. Very good, Jeremy. That's what it's all about. All right. With that said, we got Bo crowdfunders. You go ahead and let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. I have to ask you one other question, Bo. Of all the shows that we've done, would you say this particular show is one of the most entertaining shows you've ever been on?
It's certainly one of the most off-topic.
That's all right. We can handle it.
It's been a hilarious show for sure.
Yeah. Well, remember one thing. It's still July 16th, 2024. I don't know how much of those are going to be later on, but tonight we seize advantage of having some comic involved. So, all right,
it starts tomorrow.
There you go. And you know what? I should point out, Bo and Coach Pano have a show that's on at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So I hope you can join them there. I'm giving you your pro there. So, all right. So go out there and let everyone know, Bo, how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah. So obviously you can find me here on Tuesday nights. We even occasionally talk about football. And then, on my channel at Football-Talk. And of course, Coach and I will be on Coach's Corner tomorrow at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern.
All right, Coach, you're next. Of course, getting the mute button off. I didn't take I didn't take lip reading courses, so try it again, Coach.
Well, my wife came home and the dog was barking downstairs, so I didn't think that'd be a good look for the show. But,
I'm kidding with you. That's okay.
No, it's good. You can catch me here on Tuesdays with Bo on Wednesdays on Coach's Corner. You can hit me up on LinkedIn, and outside of that, good luck. Thank you.
Hey, but you know what, Coach? You went from 0 to 3, so you're getting much better. You're figuring this thing out. You're a broadcaster now. This is your new world. At least you're still connected to the game, even if we're talking about Flip Wilson and Nipsey Russell tonight. All right, go ahead, Mel.
You can catch me on all the social media at Mel Farr Jr. Keep up what we have going on down here in Georgia, also in Michigan for the youth at melfarsuperstarfoundation.org.
Yeah. And by the way, as I told Candy earlier, I am definitely looking forward to going to that event next August. It's just too bad I got sick and I was really very ill up there. But the next time you have it in August, Coach Bono and I have talked about we're going to go there anyway. So that'll be really good.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Great cause. All right. There's Mr. Holmes.
You can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes. You can find my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on bigcatcountry.com. Actually just posted earlier this morning an article just kind of breaking down where the Jaguars haven't gotten better and maybe where they have, which position groups. Take a look at that. You can find me here every week, and wherever you catch your podcast, Inside the Pigskin, 8 p.m. on Tuesdays. And if you're looking for a Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, we have the Duval Dive. That's me in the comments on YouTube and all your different podcasters on Fridays at 11 a.m. Thank you for having me as always, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. I love this group. I really do. I mean, we can take this show 9 million different ways. We can all laugh at it, and I have no problem laughing at myself. It doesn't matter. I'm used to doing it anyway. So, but meanwhile, I mean, who cares? It's all fun. You only live once, anyways. And Coach Bono does have a book coming out that I should inform people. It's called TBD. When I get around to it, and we can get the information from his head down to a card. See, Bo, you get the show, and I get the book. So we got to make sure Coach Bono breaks into post-football retirement life 2 ways. Well, him and I are going to be co-authoring a book, and you got him a show. Bo and Bono, you can't do any better than that. BOs are wild. All right, let's see. So let's go back to Jeremy. And on a closing note, okay, Jeremy, I hope you have a good old time on Thursday. And you know what? As Richie Cunningham would say, I found my thrills on Blueberry Hill. And you don't want me singing, otherwise it's going to break somebody's eardrums.
Richie Cunningham said that?
It just turned into the late night show.
Yeah, it did.
Man.
Yeah, who
Scott out here in these streets playing the saxophone.
Yeah, who's doing that? I remember when Johnny Carson's doing it. Who's doing it these days?
Doing what?
Who?
The Late Show?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. What's his name?
I can't stay up that late.
Fallon.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon does.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Okay, what's his name? Mel
That
and I.
we had it on last night.
Yeah, but I forgot about it.
Wow.
I don't watch regular TV.
So an update on the All-Star Game AL5 NL3.
So Coach Bono, Scott cannot be your VP, man. He can't remember last night. I don't know what to tell you.
He's kind of sure VP. Coach and Madmouth, we're not politicians, so well, be glad we're not. And if I ever become a politician, it'll be under the following condition: that Vera Mikakovic over at Black Rock Bar and Grill give me the 2 best strawberry margaritas loaded with a lot of tequila, because I guarantee you I'll be sleeping before I can say a lie. And she makes a darn good drink. I tell you, I had 2 of them last Saturday. So there you go.
That's your slogan. I'll be sleeping before I tell a lie.
Yeah, that's it, man. And, well, no, my real slogan is I'm like a Timex watch. I take a licking, though, but I keep on talking, and now I need a new watch anyways because the last Apple Watch went down. So we'll have to see what I can come up with. We've gone from Nipsey Russell, Flip Wilson, to watches that are dying, and we're having a blast doing it. So with that said, this includes this comical version of Inside the Pigskin, where we go north of the border, south of the border, or wherever else we're going to go. So margaritas for everyone. There's the platform. Okay, what's another show you can start? So on behalf of Coach Bono, Travis Holmes, Mel Farr Jr., and Bo, and Candy as well, my name is Scott Morgan, Rock the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Inside the Pigskin. And I have a feeling that next Tuesday night will be a little bit more serious than this one, but so what? We can let it loose anyway.
Why?
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah, you know what, Coach, you are so right. You know why? Because we still are in July, right? So we can still get more funny next week, right?
That's right.
Let it come naturally.
Exactly. That's what we do here. See,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to have a list of people that I mentored in this business, and your name is going to be on one of them. How's that?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, we will. I'm serious.
On that list.
I'll tell you what, Mel's the same way. I tell you, when I was working with Peter Ween, he didn't know anything. But Mel, I'll tell you, this guy's come a long way, too. You can mentor people any age you want. It doesn't make any difference as long as they're coachable. Right, Coach?
That's right.
All right. Well, all the one-liners are there. So, Shohei Ohtani. I don't know if he's in the game, but I'm going to get out of here and see if I can watch him. And I won't have any sleep tonight. Networking event at 7:45. But boy, it's been a blast with you guys tonight.
All right.
The dream team. No, I'm not talking about USA basketball. I'm talking about this. All right. With that said, good night, everybody. From Inside the Pigskin, once again, on behalf of Bo, Bono, Mel, Travis, and Motown, Motor City Madmouth. Good evening. We'll see you next Tuesday night. Bye now.
Good night.